Hey everyone, it's Simon from Higher Plane Games. I hope you're well, and welcome to the Housewife, a game which does not do what it says on the tin whatsoever, and I am severely disappointed. I can't even be vague about this. Thank you very much to the developer for sending me over a copy, but sadly, there's a graphical glitch that I haven't quite seen yet. It just misses the point completely. So the Housewife, before I dive in to the poor gameplay that's about, is it models itself on this whole get inside the mind of a lady that's suffering from domestic abuse from her husband. She's been crapped on by her children everywhere because they just don't care, and she is clearly in distress. But instead of actually focusing on any of that at all, this is essentially Viscera Clear Up, but without but worse in every single way. And that would be fine if there was a story or a narrative that could go along with it. But there really isn't, apart from a few couple of spoken lines, and the fact that even when you do clear up your house, which is essentially all this game is, that light flashes lols, he comes in and hits you anyway, which I suppose is the point. But it's just no. So let's dive in to chapter 1 of 4. Them's bees your things. So you've woke up in the morning, you're like, oh god, I've got to get going, and I've got to get going now. And I can't clear, oh no, I forgot you can't clear any of that up. So you've got hands, you've got a sponge. Let's drop that in there. Get going on the whole cleary, but then sadly the sponge needs refilling every 5 switches. And whilst yes, you can go back and forth and try and clear it, and I guess actually I could pick up the bucket and take it with me. That would probably be a much more efficient way of doing things. And let's pick up the bucket with my hands. And then you get lovely little glitches out like that. Let's plop this in the middle, switch to my mop, and off and away we go. This is better. And so have I now done this room? Yes, I have. So dunk him, pick up the thing, and let's get off to the next area. So the next area is more around rubbish. Let's pick up the bin. Let's just drop the bin here. Pick up the trash. Put it in the bin. And this, oh, I can't carry the bin around with me, but that's not what I want to do. There is a real disparity between the length of your arm when you're picking up a bin or if you are picking up some trash or rubbish, as I'm English. I didn't even let that one go. There's a really weird clipping problem with this. And that room looks fucking freaky. No wonder your child's weird. So yeah, so in that goes. And the last thing that you've got, and I've only got till 12:30 to sweep things away and get sorted. I'm clicking. Come on, there we go. Let's go back to my hands. Is there anything here that needed doing? Oh, of course there is. God, woman, how skanky are you in the bath? Let's pick up. Let's get scrubbing, girl. No, to be fair, where I live, the water is extremely hard. Yes, that is a thing. And so you do get grubby bathrooms. Okay, so we've done all there. We've done all there. That's just loads of sand piles. Okay, so where are we? So we're only halfway through the dirt stains. Got loads of sand piles to go. Not fab. and it's nearly home time, because by 12:30 hubby comes home. And so whilst I get that I need to have cleared all of this up, the sweeping action is so ridiculously slow. And this is all the game is. There are 4 chapters like this, and then there are also 4 dream sequences, which essentially just do the same thing with a little bit of added picking up and mini-game action of like dodge the really, really bad huge big block for no reason. It doesn't make any sense necessarily in the context of things, because yes, she must be dreaming about how horrible her life is, but yeah, if we're going for pretentious or awareness, both of them miss the mark with this. It is just a poor game that's so frustratingly bad and lacking anything that it's supposed to be doing. Is that? Oh no, there's one of the sand shit over here. I think we're into the garage, I think, with some stuff. I don't think I'm going to get this done in time. And it's because of how shite this broom is. There we go. Hurrah. There you go. Failure. Run out of time. And that's your game over screen. Suffering, frustration, fear, depression, pain. I'm sure it's got good intentions. I'm really sure it has. But it's just awful. And therefore, any good intention that it has whatsoever is so far from the mark. I cannot recommend this, especially when it's coming in at £3.99. And there are games that are free that have more emotional punch than this, and that are more functional, let alone games that you can pay for. Why would you? And it's not as if this goes to like a charity event or anything like that either, so it just feels like an empty, hollow gesture. So that is The Housewife. I'm sorry to be so damning, but it's just awful. And I suppose you could kind of categorise this in a kind of that dragon cancer, but actually that had a functional story to tell with emotional punch, even though the game itself was not necessarily good in the way how it was like made into a game, if that makes sense. The emotional integrity of it was there, whereas with this it just feels lost. So thank you very much for watching here in Higher Plane Games. Stay clear of this, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care all. Bye for now. That beautiful transition.